Five, four, three, two, one. Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. 815.
Oh, good morning, everybody. If the money, you know, the money that IKEA spends, they spend a lot of money on wall mounting brackets and those things that you put together from IKEA. Really, that's just them effectively paying the premium for their anti-lawsuit insurance. Trust me. Tom is here. I'm Greg. This is your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 13th day of December, the year 2025, the latest it's ever been.
In the history of mankind, please tell me you can hear me.
I can hear you, but you sound like you're like in a under a blanket.
And I also look like I look like I'm a ghost or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well,
I'm using a different computer today, but anyway.
I'm going to
When you
turn
said
up your
that, all I could
microphone
think
so
of-
I can
What's that?
volume. Well, you got the anti-tip brackets on all of your IKEA furniture at home, right, Tom?
Yeah, sure. All the IKEA furniture I don't have. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you never purchased IKEA furniture for your house?
No. Yeah.
Really? It's an experience. It's worth the trip.
I've never been to IKEA. Can you hear me better now?
No.
Is that better now?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can at least I can understand what
I
you're
don't know.
saying. That's the good news. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Yeah, don't do that. That's no fun. That's true. Our current race to 10. Is this correct? Is this a tech issue as well? Tom in the lead, a score of 5-3. What happened the last couple of weeks? How did you score 2 points?
I know.
5-3.
I have taken the lead on you.
You have inside joke. Look from past episodes. Speaking of 5-3, 53,000 is the big number of the week this week. It almost looks like I planned this, Tom. Ice cream or introverts is the answer this week to our big number of the week. And what is the big number of the week? It's just an article that I read this week that had a big number associated with it, and I was interested. So I put it in the show, and I try to throw Tom off with another story that might also have a number involved with it, to see if I can score against Tom's guess. That's the big number of the week. And I encourage everyone, Tom included, but he refuses. I encourage everyone, use your Google machine, use your search, your Bings, your Yahoos, whatever it is that you like to search with, and try to find the article that has to do with this big number within the last week or two. It's out there. I think you can find it. It might be a little bit obscure, but it's out there. Put your guess in the comments, ice cream or introverts. And this week we're giving away a $25 Landscape Connection gift card for someone who comments on the show this week. So this would be a great thing to have for your last minute Christmas shopping stuff. Great store. Landscape Connection, South Mulford in Rockford. It's a wonderful, wonderful store. They have their Christmas lights all set up. And their Christmas walk is a free thing to take the family through. Every year, Michelle and her team puts together this amazing Christmas walk. at the Landscape Connection, and it is a sight to behold, an experience to treasure. Bring the kids, bring the grandparents, and go check out the Landscape Connection and their stuff out there. Did you already? You're still playing with that? Oh, but you already sent me your guest, didn't you, Tom? You already did. Way to go. All right, Tom's freezing up as he plays with his older computer, trying to make things work. we do have a guest to get to today, and this guest is the curator of the Veterans Memorial Hall here in Rockford, which has been around for more than a few years. Mike's going to tell us about that. Mike Fredericksen joins us on the In Crowd 815 podcast, and good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Oh, we're doing fine. How are you? You're at the hall this morning.
I'm at the hall. I'm in what's called the post room here. This is kind of what I think one of the coolest rooms in here, because this is where a lot of the history happened. This is where the Civil War veterans used to meet, and so I thought it was appropriate we'd meet in here too.
So they call that the post room?
Post room because all the posts used to meet here, primarily the Guard Post, the Grand Army of the Republic, which was kind of the fraternal organization for the Civil War veterans after the war. They used to meet right in here, and we have some pictures even on our website. If you want to look at on the About the Hall page, you can actually see them standing. They would have been standing right to my right here.
Okay. Well, before we get into all things Veterans Memorial Hall, let's learn a little bit about Mike Fredericksen. Okay, did you grow up in Rockford? What schools did you go to? What was your childhood like, Mike?
I moved around quite a bit. I'm not a Rockford native. I'm ashamed to admit. I've only lived here probably about, maybe 10, 12 years, 13 years, something like that.
Okay.
Time is but a concept. I don't know. But I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and moved around quite a bit. My dad was an engineer. You know, he'd get laid off, and then we'd move to where the jobs are. So spent some time in Minnesota. This is my third stint in Illinois. Spent some time in Wisconsin, and as a very young man in my college days, I lived 5 years in Canada as well. So I've been moving around quite a bit. I don't really consider anything my hometown. The closest I'd say was Plainfield, Illinois, because I spent probably my last 8 years or so as a child there. So went to high school at Plainfield High School. Back then there was just one high school. Now they have about 4 or 5 of them. The city's really exploded down there, but
yeah,
that's it.
So what high school did you end up graduating then from?
Plainfield High School.
Plainfield High School, which was the what? What was the mascot for Plainfield High School?
Wildcats.
Okay, I don't know that we can make fun of Wildcats, Mike or Tom. That would be a little scary, maybe, to mess with Wildcats. That might not be a great idea. We like to poke fun of high school or school mascots if we can, but because I'm a Warrior, don't mess with the Warriors, Muskego Warriors. Tom was East E-Rab or Jefferson Jayhawk? Jefferson Jayhawk, right? I think.
Jefferson Jayhawk.
There we go.
Jefferson Jayhawk. Yeah. Yep.
All right. So after high school, what was the career arc like? What ended up bringing you to the Veterans Memorial Hall?
I went to Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada. I majored in psychology of all things with a minor in history. I actually originally wanted to major in history, but decided for some reason at that time I was really interested in psychology, so pursued that. After I graduated from college, we ended up moving back to Illinois. Actually, to Caleb. My wife went and got her master's degree there, so we were there for a while. Tried to find a job. Actually ended up in the rental car industry of all things. History has always been something I loved. I volunteered in museums even since I was a kid. And after about 5 years of rental car industry, I started a business with my mom called Goga Studios right here in Rockford. And then after that, I again was volunteering in a number of museums. Ended up getting a job at the Poplar Grove Vintage Wings and Wheels Museum. Had a role there as originally as part of their education director, then as collections manager, and then I kind of assimilated all the jobs there and became curator as well. And I did that job for between all the jobs and volunteering for a little over 10 years.
Okay.
There I moved on and went to the library for a little bit, but as I said, history always finds a way to call me back. And I've been involved in a number of museums on boards and other things, including Wings and Wheels, Tinker Swiss Cottage, and then the curator job opened up at Veterans, and I put a feeler out, and here we are.
Nice.
All right. All right. Can you
Sounds
hear
better,
me?
Tom. That sounds way better, buddy.
You can hear me? Good. We're good. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The internet's not been my friend today. Now I'm too bright. Way too bright. Blinded by the light. Oh, yeah. Oh, now the G shows up.
There
All right.
we go.
So, Mike, you spent time in Canada. You spent time in Minnesota, eh? Are you a Bear fan, Packer fan, Viking fan, or an Ottawa Rough Riders fan?
You know, a little bit of column A. I was a Packers fan when we lived in Wisconsin. I was a Vikings fan when I lived in Minnesota. But these days, since I spent most of my time in Illinois, I regret to admit I'm a Bears fan. So, apologies.
Boo.
He gets patriated everywhere he goes.
Go Pack, go right there.
They were my formative years, so I kept on being assimilated to the culture. I guess I still have this old starter's Green Bay Packer jacket I used to wear in middle school. I remember. So
all right, good for you. Good for you.
Vintage now, right, Mike? That's vintage.
Yeah, it's probably worth exactly nothing, but it's
yeah, I was gonna say you get like $150 on eBay, probably.
Yeah, baby.
You don't know till you try. There's always somebody that wants to spend some money on stuff. So, well, I want to bring up the website for Veterans Memorial Hall and Museum, and Mike can tell us a little bit about the history of this amazing building downtown. What are the highlights, I guess, that you'd like to share with people when you tell them initially that you're involved with the Veterans Memorial Hall?
Well, I have a slightly biased opinion, but I think it's the most beautiful building downtown. It's got that classic Greek revival style. You know, both sides are the same. It has the pillars on there. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it really stands out downtown.
Yes.
As far as the history goes, it dates back just a couple years. You know, they started building this building in 1901. It was finished in 1903. It was originally called the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall, and it was actually established through the efforts of Civil War veterans in the county who were wanting to put together a place for veterans to meet and store their relics, that sort of thing. It was one of the first buildings in the state that was built to honor all veterans, and we like to say we're the oldest museum in Rockford as well. Now, inside of our building, we have a grand auditorium, which is available for rentals as well. There's meeting rooms for veterans organizations. There are numerous exhibits throughout all three levels of our museum covering veteran stories, their relics, that sort of thing. And what I think is really neat about our museum is we've operated as a free museum since day one, and we are still free today, and we're going to keep that going for as long as we can. Now, one of the cool things about our dedication, this building was dedicated, as I mentioned, on June 3rd, 1903, and this actually brought sitting President Theodore Roosevelt out to actually dedicate the building. Now, what's cool about that is that was the first visit to Rockford by a sitting president ever. And he had some very nice things to say about the building. He said, no more fitting memorial hall could be erected to the men who fought in this. And I couldn't agree more.
1903?
1903, yes, sir.
Man, okay. So, but he wasn't the only president to visit this building, correct?
You know, as far as I know, he might. I know we've had other presidents in Rockford. I don't know if anyone's visited the Memorial Hall. I don't have the history on that. I admit that I'm still fairly new here and gathering all the history and knowledge that I have here. I started here in February, but to my knowledge,
I want to say was it Kennedy that was when John F. Kennedy was campaigning? So maybe he wasn't president yet when he visited Rockford.
Yeah, he came through here for sure.
Yeah.
He was campaigning though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there may have been other presidents, but again, I don't have the exact history. I'm not a Rockford historian by any means. So
not yet. No. Okay. All right. So one of the things that got me a little bit more familiar with Veterans Memorial Hall was our Tinker Swiss Cottage event that we have there, the Tinker Ball at Memorial Hall that we've done there now for the last few years, which is a lot of fun, by the way. If you get a chance to join us, I believe it's in March. We put together the gals that run Tinker Cottage put together a wonderful old school style of dance thing, like a square dance type of a thing almost. it's a lot of fun. Good way to meet some new people and to do something that you can sit out and just watch, or you can participate and dance in and learn the steps and the moves. It's actually less dancing and more just choreography type things. But we've had a blast there doing that the last few years. So if so, you say it's free, but I'm sure, is there guided tours? Is there a set schedule for anything like that when people want to come and check out what's in the museum there?
We are here 9 to 4 Tuesday through Fridays. So anytime in there you can show up. If you have a tour group or anything you want to bring by, call us. We can set up times outside of that as well. We got a lot of events here. We have rental spaces available. If you're into the paranormal, there's paranormal events here all the time. If you're into that sort of thing, we have guided tours. We'll do school groups. We'll do, you name it. If you want to visit the hall, we'll make it work for you. Just give us a call and we'll see what we can do for you.
All right. If someone had to, if someone forced you to pick one of the most amazing, odd, interesting artifacts that you have in your museum, that you've curated so far, that you've looked at it and your time that's been there, is there one or two that you'd pick out and say, this one really intrigues me and this is why?
There's lots of things. In fact, I actually brought a little show and tell here today. Now,
all right.
You got the picture up there. Those two pictures at the top of the screen there. That's actually the post room. That's exactly where I am right now. If you look to the right of the screen, there's a little pillar. That's the pillar with Lincoln's on right behind me right there. So we are in that room today, and I thought it would be fitting, since we're in the post room, we're the Vietnam veterans, but I'm going to give it the white glove treatment here. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I think are pretty cool here. One of them is actually something that was donated to us this year, which was this really cool canteen that was carried during the Civil War, and we actually can trace it back to who carried it, when they carried it, and how they had it. And it was by a gentleman by the name of David W. Evans. He was a sergeant in the 8th Illinois Cavalry, and he carried this throughout the entire war. And it still has the fabric on it, which is really cool. And here's the curator nerd part of me that really gets geeked out about this. We get cool stuff that walks into our. I've worked in museums, like I said, for about 15 years now. So we have this, and when we walk in the door and they bring us a binder with all the provenance that's this big, that makes me very excited, because that has all the paperwork, all the tracing that there is to be done, and that, to me, that's one of the coolest things that we find. Now, also, it would be fitting to show a little weaponry as well.
Oh, there we go.
This is it's in very good condition. This is a Lee Enfield musket. It's a pattern 1853 model. These were the second most carried weapons during the Civil War, and the primary weapon of the Confederates as well. But the Union side did carry them in significant numbers too. Very cool rifle. See if I can lean back a little bit here.
Yeah, once they made them that long, they got pretty accurate, at least more accurate.
Yeah, at least more accurate. It actually does have an adjustable sight on it. So once they moved away from the really old school muskets, they found they could actually hit something with these, and it was actually worth aiming. But there's this guy here, and then one cool thing I found, which is actually part of a research project I've been doing the last couple of days, is we're actually planning, in the early stages of planning an exhibit on the 8th Cavalry. Now, this is a sword that we have in our collection. Now, museums are all about mysteries. Back in the day, in our records, we actually had listed that we had 2 swords that were carried by men from the 8th Cavalry. Now, I can't prove it definitively because those records have since been lost, but I think this is one of those swords. It's what I'll call, maybe the proper term would be probably maybe. And that's this sword here, and it's, again, pretty good shape. It's a pretty decent long sword. This would be carried by pretty much all the cavalry members. And you wouldn't want to be on the business.
How long is that? How would you carry that? I mean, it looks like it's 6 feet tall.
Well, I mean, you are on. It's not quite 6 feet tall. I think it's like 53 inches or something like that.
It's got to be close to 4 feet, 3.5 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd carry it as a cavalryman on your hip, on your horse, and you'd have a sash that wrapped around, and so that's kind of exciting. Other artifacts we have here, to me, what's even more important than the artifacts themselves is actually the stories that walk in the door. To me, that's everything, especially with what we do here at the museum. We want to honor the veterans. I've always had a pet peeve with how history is taught. They always teach it that, this battle happened on this day, and you memorize that the battle happened on this day. But to me, that only tells a very small fraction of the story. It's, every soldier that fought in that battle has a story, and each one of them has a different experience. And to me, what matters more than the dates and the place and even the artifacts is what those stories actually are, and what happened to these men and what they went through. And to me, as a historian, I feel that's how we relate history to people, is actually through those emotional connections. Those, no one knows what it's like to fight in the Civil War, but you might know what hunger feels like. You might know what being scared feels like. And if you can connect those emotions to people, they're going to be much more drawn into history than Pearl Harbor was attacked December 7th. Pearl Harbor is, the date, but what were the men feeling while they were there? What did they go through? That's going to connect people much more than date memorization. That's my soapbox complaint for the day, but here we are.
Yeah. To make things relevant, it's all about the emotions, the feelings. What were those people going through? What did they have to deal with? The fringe things that were going around, because obviously, everyone knows the big thing, like the attack on Pearl Harbor, but
right.
There were people brushing their teeth when the first bombs fell, right?
Exactly. And I like to think of museums as, we're solving mysteries every day. So a lot of times artifacts come in, you don't know where it came from, not necessarily what it is, that sort of thing. And so our job is to be able to become detectives, go through history, find out what it is, find out where it came from, why it's relevant. And then I think even the biggest part of our job, beyond being a caretaker and a researcher, is being a storyteller. Yeah. Because we have to convey those stories. We have to, make it interesting, make people, there's a lot of cool things, but people don't necessarily understand enough about it to care. So our job is to try to convey why they should care and why it's neat and why it's cool. And that's, to me, that's one of my favorite parts of the job, is that storytelling aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking at the page here with some of the featured artifacts that you have there. And I've been, a lot of this year, Mike, I've been trying to incorporate AI into our show. So I've been asking AI to give me some questions to ask our guests. And one of the questions that AI gave me for you today was on artifacts. Oh gosh, where did it go here? The intangible artifacts. Okay. It says, the question that AI gave me: we often look at the big flashy items, the cannons, the uniforms, like the sword you just brought out. Often the most powerful items are the small personal ones. Is there an unassuming item in the collection, something a visitor might walk right past, that actually holds one of the most powerful or heartbreaking stories in the museum? Is there something small, seems insignificant, but it's got a really great story?
You know what? That happens quite a bit here. And I always tell people when they go to museums, there's, maybe 5% of all the collections are actually on display at any given time. So there's, oftentimes the coolest and most powerful stuff isn't on display either due to space or, to protect the objects, that sort of thing. But one of those items actually came to me. I'll reference, we were doing a project in the spring this year. We were doing research on all of the Vietnam veterans who were killed in action from Winnebago County. And we made a whole kiosk about it. We went through research each individual guy, tried to find out not just, where they were in battle, how they were killed, but, who they were as people. And as we were doing that research, I was going through our collections, hey, maybe some of that stuff might have been donated here. Mm-hmm. And one of those items, there's a guy by the name of Larry McGee. Now he was killed in action in Vietnam. And we was going through our research, went through our collection software, did a search for his name, and found out we had an entire box full of things. And in the things, he had all these photos, all these pictures and letters and correspondence. Those were all powerful, but really hit me was he had this piece of poetry that was included in there that he had written when he was in high school. And it talked about how his fate was unknown and how, you never know what the future is going to hold, that sort of thing. And reading that art, it was almost like he had some kind of vision of what his fate might be. And that, it hit me hard. And I still think about that, almost daily. And I was doing that research in March and April, and I still think about it today. It's one of those things that just sits with you.
Yeah. The humanity of that one person. And I think a lot of what gets lost on us as just the lay people or folks that aren't maybe involved, haven't been in the military ourselves. Maybe we have family that have, but we often forget how young these young men were that went off to war, that went off to across the sea to do these battles. And it's, 18, a lot of 18-year-olds left their home in Northern Illinois and went across, the world, the other half of the world to fight a battle. They had no clue what they were doing other than defending freedom, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I mean, I'm guilty of this as well. I never served in the military, but family has. I'm sure most people have family have served. But one thing that when I was doing that research, I think the average age for Winnebago that was killed in action was around 23 years old. But what really hit me doing that research is not only that, is how many of those families sacrificed. You think about the soldier giving his life, but all those families, they lost, a husband, they lost a son, they lost a father in some cases. And there were several cases we were doing research. There were several of those guys from Winnebago County that were killed that had kids they never got to meet. And as a parent myself, it hits me like a ton of bricks. It's powerful stuff, and that's why I think what we do here is important. Is we are able to keep those memories alive and make sure people don't forget about the sacrifices that have been made by veterans. And we've been talking about wartime veterans and killed in action, but those who served during peacetime as well, they all sacrificed as well and deserve to be honored just as much. So, yeah,
their time and talent was spent doing something they wouldn't learning something that they hoped they didn't have to put into practice.
Exactly.
Right. So the other thing I like to ask AI about is a funny or odd question to ask our guest. And so it usually gives me three. I get three questions, and sometimes one of them is actually pretty good. I think this one's pretty funny. And being a museum curator that in this work that you've done for years now, this probably has actually crossed your mind. I'm hoping this actually has crossed your mind. Now, be honest, Mike. If Night at the Museum situation happened at the Veterans Memorial Hall and some exhibits came to life after you locked the doors, who would win the wrestling match? The Civil War mannequin downstairs or the World War I doughboy upstairs?
Well, I got to go with the doughboy. The firepower there is going to be immense. That's kind of a terrifying thought in here of things coming to life. I just envision
a wrestling match, so I'm going with the Civil War guy.
That's true. Wrestling, those guys.
A wrestling match, not a gunfight.
Yeah, I think you might have a point there. The thinking about that, the idea of things coming to life here, we got all the weapons. I just picture all these Civil War bayonets, like 2 feet long, running around and jabbing at each other.
Yeah.
The artillery shells in here, man.
Well, you mentioned donations. If people wanted to donate to the museum, obviously monetary donations to help upkeep everything would be always welcome, I'm sure. There's a list here that shows the things that you do and do not accept. Obviously, live ammunition, no, don't bring that in. Interesting, though, no cots, no reunion materials. We're not looking for tank or ship or airplane models, souvenir pamphlets, the 48 and 50 star flags, flagpoles, stands, pikes, books. It does say books, newspapers, or periodicals, which that kind of surprises me a little bit. It doesn't surprise me VHS and DVD movies because those deteriorate and such. But I would think the occasional book or newspaper, if it's truly a period piece that you might want, is there a reason why that's on this list?
We do occasionally
probably storage.
You're exactly right there, Tom. It's all about storage. Most of the items that are on our lists there, VHS stuff we've converted. Yeah. We've gone to the digital age now, so it doesn't. But newspapers, books, it's all about storage, and a lot of that stuff is digitalized now too, especially newspapers. So it just takes up space, and space is a premium. It keeps us from bringing something else in that might be cool. So, but most things on that list, things like, I'd add Foot Lockers to that list too, because we have dozens of Foot Lockers, and they take up a lot of space. And having one more doesn't necessarily enhance our collection. So we try to look at that. Stuff like live ammunition is pretty obvious. We don't need that around. But we're always looking for things. Especially our mission here is about Winnebago County veterans. So anything associated with Winnebago County veterans, medals, uniforms, especially stories. Send us their stories in. Anything about anyone who served Winnebago County, we want to hear about. We want to learn about it. And you never know. We might end up having a story told on a wall in here sometime. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking for.
Nice. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about was volunteers. Is there any specific need for any volunteer opportunities coming up that people might want to plug into?
There's always opportunities for volunteers. Pretty much the whole breadth of what you can do in a museum. We will find something for you to do here at the hall. We have 2 employees here. We are always looking for help. To give you an example of some of the stuff we're doing right now, I've been working with a couple of volunteers on a couple of projects. One is an inventory project. We're going through literally every box in the storage that we have and re-inventorying every item to make sure our lists are correct, our inventory is correct. And that kind of job involves, if you love getting your hands on history, that's the kind of job where you actually get to touch the history, handle the history, see the history, and smell the history, all that kind of stuff that comes in these boxes. We have another project working on a major research project, researching guys in a few of the Illinois infantries that came out of the Rockford area. They're researching each guy, find out what happened to them, where they were buried, that sort of thing. And we're always looking for docents and administrative help too. Whatever you think you can offer, let us know. We will find a place for you. We can use you.
And for those maybe uninitiated, basically a docent is a tour guide. There's really a tour guide with enough knowledge to be a little dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. It's all storytelling. You walk through. We'll give you training. We won't throw you into the fire. We'll train you what everything is. How to present it, that sort of thing. And it's one of the more fun jobs. It's the people that come in the door. Everyone has a story. It's always interesting. Usually, everyone who walks in has some kind of connection or associated with something. That's always a fun part of the job.
Good deal. Well, we have the link hopefully showed up in the chat stream. I'm having some issues technically with putting some stuff on the chat stream today, but veteransmemorialhall.com is the website to go check out all things Veterans Memorial Hall Museum, downtown Rockford. And it's really worth going in and checking out if you ever get a chance to go down and have Mike or one of the docents give you a little walkthrough and tour the place. You said Tuesday through Saturday?
Tuesdays through Fridays, our usual hours from 9 to 4.
9 to 4, Tuesday to Friday. Awesome. Okay. And is there anything that we did not ask you about today that you wanted to make sure we touch on before we move on to our Tom's Trivia?
Yeah, I would like to invite people actually out to Nicholas Conservative Gardens. They have this Mississippi Station model train set. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
But this year, we actually have a model made of Veterans Memorial Hall, and it's absolutely cool. It's made out of wood. It looks amazing, and I would encourage you all to come out there and check that out.
They got the model trains like going through a bunch of Rockford area symbols and locations, right? This year.
Yeah. There's the Coronado Center. There's the Buyer Stadium ticket booth. There's a train station. There's some the Mississippi the band thing. I forget what that thing's called.
Band shell there.
Yeah. There's a bunch of cool stuff there. It's all Rockford specific monuments and buildings, and it's really cool. And we're very honored that we were represented there this year. So awesome. please check it out and go see it, and then come visit us.
And then visit Veterans Memorial Hall and get all the information on veteransmemorialhall.com. All right, we're going to bring our next guest on in just a minute, but don't go anywhere, Mike. We need your help with a little bit of something that we'd like to call Tom's Trivia Challenge.
It's time for Tom's Trivia Challenge on the In Crowd 815 podcast. Good luck.
All right, Miranda, you're going to be
right.
ready to help us out. So jump on the screen if you can. And each week, Tom brings us some trivia, and we try to score points as a team against Tom's Trivia. And
with a little help from Snoopy today.
Good morning, Miranda. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
All right.
Oh, you're getting thrown into the fire right away.
Oh,
You ready for trivia?
We'll see.
We'll be
All righty.
GABA-A-Alliance next, but first our weekly Tom Trivia. What do we got? 7 questions. I want to get 4 points, guys. That's my goal every week, is to get 4 out of the 7, and then I'm pretty happy. So let's do this together.
All right, there's a holiday coming up. What is this holiday?
My dad's birthday,
No, really? Your dad was born on the 25th?
the 20th.
Oh, the 20th. Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Today.
All right. Well, anyway, yes, Christmas. It is Christmas trivia today. It shouldn't be too difficult. You should ace this whole thing. Now the pressure is really on. All right, here we go. First one. These are all Christmas movies. The first couple of them are A Christmas Story. In the window of the department store, Ralphie sees the gun he wants to buy. You know, the one that he would eventually shoot his eye out with. What was the name of the grocery or the department store? Was it Higbee's or Woolworths? We know it wasn't Walmart.
I mean,
Once
Higbee's
again, in the
is weird,
window
right? But
of the department store, Ralphie sees the gift, the BB gun that he wants to buy. What was the name of the store? Was it Higbee's or was it Woolworths?
I haven't watched that movie.
It's been a long time.
Not in its
Yeah.
entirety, anyway, for quite a while. So, I mean, Woolworths was a definite store. Higbee's probably was too, but I don't remember where he was looking at the Red Ryder BB gun. I don't know. You got a educated guess?
I'm gonna say the first one.
Woolworths?
No, the first one was Higbee's.
Higbee's? You want to go with the Higbee's one?
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right, we're going with Higbee's.
Yes, nicely done. Nicely done. It was Higbee's.
Sweet.
All right.
Give us the point.
The movie was It's a Wonderful Life. What is the name of George Bailey's angel? Is it Charlie or is it Clarence?
I
In the
could have guessed
movie
that one
It's a
without the
Wonderful Life,
options.
what is the name of George Bailey's angel? Is it Charlie or is it Clarence?
This is a movie we watch every year. This is a must see every year in our household. So
Okay, so the Christmas Story I watch every year because it plays for 24 hours on TNT or TBS, one of the two.
Yes, yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life I have not seen in a while, but I do remember it.
Either one of you remember this one?
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, it's been especially for that one. I haven't watched that movie since my grandma was alive. So that was kind of our movie, but it's been a long time since I've actually watched that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, right at the end of the movie. Way to go, Clarence. He says, way to go, Clarence. It's
Yeah.
Oh,
the angel.
see, and that was my guess. That was going to be my guess.
All right.
All right.
Well, you guys are 2-0.
2 for 2.
2-0. Here we go. Here we go. In Charles Dickens' novel, A Christmas Carol, what character proclaimed, "God bless us, everyone"?
Oh, come on. One of you got to know this one.
Oh, man. These are some really good questions.
What I'm warning us, I need to brush up on my Christmas movies.
What was the name of Bob Cratchit's son? The little boy.
God
Wait,
bless us, everyone.
God bless us, Charles Dick. Wait, is it Tiny Tim?
Tiny
Yes.
Tim.
All right.
Cha-ching. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Walk through town. Yes.
All right, here we
I
go.
played
Here
Bob
we go.
Cratchit in a version of the Christmas Carol a long time ago. So yeah, Tiny Tim was there.
You're kind of cratchety anyway, so
I'm a little
that's good.
cratchety now. I wasn't then.
All right. Number 4, Frosty. In the Christmas song, Frosty the Snowman, what is Frosty's nose made out of?
With the corn cob pipe and button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. He didn't have a corn. He didn't have a carrot nose. He had a button.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
button nose.
It is a button nose.
Button nose.
I'm going to have to make these more difficult next time, aren't I? You're
I'm all
4-0.
about this.
The Greg, you got your 4. We can quit now or we can move on.
Let's
And
go for the
for a
sweep.
chance at a $25 gift certificate and a chance to play in the bonus round to win a brand new car wash.
Bring it. Bring it.
All right, here we go. Actors. Name the actor. Now, this here actually is Christmas, but you wouldn't think it was. It has to do with the name. All right. Name the actor whose uncle is Francis Ford Coppola. His first film role was in the 1982 film Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast
Oh.
Times at Ridgemont High. I think of Judge Reinhold and Sean whatever it's-
Penn.
Sean
Sean
Penn.
Penn, yeah.
Um,
Spicoli.
yeah.
Isn't Nicholas
No way,
Cage
Miss
related to
John.
Coppola?
What'd
No.
you say?
So isn't Nicholas Cage related to Coppola?
I
Nicholas
believe he
Cage.
is.
That's
I
a good guess.
believe he
What was
is
his name?
his nephew.
Was he in that movie though? I don't remember
Yeah.
him in the movie, but I
I
would.
don't think he was in that movie though.
I don't remember him in the movie.
Well,
That's
what
the
do you
only-
think, Mike? What do you think?
That's the only one. That's the only answer I got. So
And that's the only answer you need, because that is correct.
Nicholas
It
Cage.
is Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
All right, this was part of a group of Christmas names for Saint Nicholas, so that's why it had to do with Christmas.
Nicholas
Otherwise it didn't. So, very good. You guys are 5-0. 5-0.
Come on.
Nicely done. All right, here we go. This is a really odd one. In Venezuela, it is customary to travel to church on Christmas Eve via which mode of travel? Is it donkeys or roller skates?
I mean, without the options, I would have said donkeys, but roller skates just sounds funnier and like it's something that they could still do. I mean, who's traveling by donkey even in Venezuela anymore? That's just,
Yeah.
but it just makes sense, right? Jesus.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Okay, so donkey is the wrong answer. Roller skates is correct.
Roller
No
skates,
reaction?
correct. Okay.
Roller skates is correct. You got it right.
It's just so silly.
It is. It's funny.
Like, why
All right.
else? Yeah.
You guys are dangerously close to running the table here.
Oh,
Are you ready?
All right.
Are you ready? All right. This one here, unless you're a Packer fan, it's Packer trivia, because the Packers won a game, a very big game, this last Sunday, you might know.
They did.
Yeah, so who was the MVP of the 96 season, 97 Super Bowl that the Packers won? They beat the Patriots. Who was the MVP of that Super Bowl?
It was a special teams player, Tom.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't the quarterback, so don't say Brett Favre.
It wasn't the quarterback. It wasn't Antonio Freeman. It wasn't Mike Holmgren.
He was a Heisman Trophy winner that played at a college going through some very hard times right now. At Michigan, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been following the story of what's
All
going
right,
on.
Greg, just go ahead and spit it out.
I can't do this. I need more
Can't do
screen.
the Heisman pose.
Desmond Howard was his name.
Desmond Howard is correct.
He's
You guys ran
amazing.
the table 7-0.
Oh.
Nicely done. And you know the best thing about it is that you guys all participated.
He's
You
hitting
guys
our
all
wheelhouse
got-
this week. That helps a lot.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
definitely helps a lot.
Well, Mike, now you don't have to refresh on your Christmas trivia. You just learned 7 new things. Well,
Yeah, there we
6 new
go.
things.
They'll
Yeah.
remember Nicolas Cage was in the Fast Times at Ridgemont High now.
Yeah, that's a new one
Yeah.
to me.
But you got it right. You knew the Francis Ford Coppola connection, so that's good.
Nicely done. Well, Mike, I appreciate you
Nicely done.
spending time with us this morning and talking about Veterans Memorial Hall Museum. Hopefully you'll see a little uptick in visitors once maybe the weather gets, I don't know, cold weather museum visitations in the wintertime. That's got to be something, a challenge.
Yeah, it's warm in here. Come on in.
There
3
you
minutes,
go.
no excuse, you know.
And a nice little parking lot right there next door. So there's a place of public parking right there.
You got
Hard
it.
to have too many excuses. So
Yeah, right across from the new old library.
awesome.
New home library. I like that.
Well, Mike, appreciate your time and we'll keep in touch. All right, buddy. You have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Switching to all things GABA-A-Alliance and our new friend, Miranda Cox. Thanks for jumping on with us today, Miranda.
Oh, thanks for having me, Greg and Tom. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we like to start with you before the organization. So tell us a little bit about where did Miranda grow up and go to school, and what was your childhood formative years? Where was that spent?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm not a Rockford native, but I have lived here for quite a few years now. But I'm actually from Wichita, Kansas. I was born and raised there and went to high school out there. And then I moved a couple of years after I graduated, like out here, and I've been here ever since.
Wichita, Kansas. What high school did you go to?
I went to Wichita Northwest High School.
And your mascot was?
A grizzly bear.
Oh, wow. Were you the Grizzlies or were you the Bears?
We were the Grizzlies.
The
Grizzlies. Okay.
Yes.
The Clark.
I like that show, Grizzly Knows Best. That's pretty good. Just kidding.
Okay, so being a Grizzly high school graduate, was there like a chant or a school song that you guys were really excited about when it was time for basketball or football season or anything like that? Was there a thing?
There was an alma mater, but it's been so long that, and some of my friends might kill me because I was a cheerleader and I completely forgot about, I can't remember the song for the life of me, but I do know the one from my 5th grade elementary school. I can remember that one, just not my high school one.
Grab your pom-poms. We'd like to see it.
No.
Eat them up, Grizzly. Eat them up, roar.
Those pom-poms have been long retired.
Okay.
Well, okay, so post high school, tell us a little bit about your career arc and what it ended up leading you to that area.
So that's a very interesting one. I'm actually, I didn't, go to high school or didn't go to college, right out of high school. I kind of needed some time to mature, I guess you would say. And then I went to Rock Valley College.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. So when I went back, I went to Rock Valley College and I got my associates, and I also got my CNA certificate there. And then I worked in sales for a while. I actually worked at Gustafson's Furniture for quite a few years, about 5 years in my early 20s. And then I became a mom. So I took some time off and got my bachelor's in forensic psychology while staying home and taking care of my daughter. And so that's kind of my educational background. And with my daughter, kind of came some other things too, and put, the rest of my educational things on hold so that I can be like home and available for my daughter.
So your years, I bet your years at Gustafson's produced some very funny stories. You've had people come into your store, because when I first came to Rockford, my first job at Rockford was at Big Sur Waterbeds. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that there was a waterbed store.
I am.
Right across the street from Lino's over here, not far from where I live now. I moved to this area now. But the people that would come in there shopping for beds, there's some stories. It cracked me up. Is there anything you'd be willing to share without sharing names? I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
No, names are just fine. We don't mind. No, I'm kidding.
So Gustafson's used to be on Riverside.
Yeah.
And that area itself can be quite colorful because there used to be, the bus stop was kind of right in front of the store, that has all the big glass and you can see everything. I do particularly remember helping a couple find a mattress. They had like the as-is department. And this lady was just kind of, hooting and hollering outside. And then all of a sudden she just takes her clothes off, like right there, and kind of doing some crazy things. And, it's awkward because you're like, where do you go? Like, oh yeah, this mattress is this and that. And like, oh, look at that. There's a naked lady.
Waiting for the bus,
Yeah. So the owner fought very hard to get that bus stop moved towards the street and not right at the store. So that's just one of many.
I live in the area. I live off of Halstead on Church.
Okay.
And so I'm about 8-10 blocks from there. I go to that McDonald's all the time, and it's quite a place. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. There's a nursing home. I think that's right across the street. And then we had an escaped patient that came into the store once too. I mean, I've got stories for days. There's just a lot of interesting things that happened.
Do you ever have anybody come in there going, would you take less for this mattress? No, we're a retail store. It's not a flea market. Do people try to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you're buying an as is mattress, there's usually, there's some
there's a
wiggle room in there
room.
because
Yeah,
it's
right.
already damaged. But the other ones, it's like, yeah, it's hard to explain, like it's a manufactured set price. So no matter where you go, it's going to be the same price. So yeah, it's that was always kind of a struggle at times.
That was probably a little bit predating a whole lot of this internet shopping. So there was a little less comparison. Back in those days, the store was the store, and that's what you got. So
exactly, yeah.
All right. So so for those who I completely was unaware of the GABA-A Alliance until earlier this year. So for those who have never heard of what GABA-A is, how do you describe it to someone who's asking you for the very first time and doesn't have a clue?
Absolutely. So it is hard to, explain. There's a lot that goes into it, but basically, so everyone has GABA receptors in their brain. The GABA neurotransmitter is the most abundant neurotransmitter that's in our brain. And so the receptors help kind of keep the brain like calm and balanced. And so they're like the brakes that your brain needs for all the activity that's going on, right? It kind of slows down all of the processes that our brain receives. And so when someone has, genetic change that disrupts, that process, it can lead to the signals can get like out of sync, and that can lead to challenges like developmental delays, intellectual disabilities, and the biggest thing is epilepsy, right? Because you have overexcited neurons, and overexcited neurons can create epilepsy, because that's essentially what happens in epilepsy is an overabundance of neural activity in the brain.
So overstimulation. Oh gosh, what's the term? What's the term when you walk into a room and there's like lots of flashing lights and the music's too loud?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's overstimulation, 100%. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people with epilepsy are a lot of times photosensitive. If you watch movies with a lot of flashing and stuff like that, there's always that kind of marker there that says, oh, this might be, not a great movie for someone who's photosensitive or people who have epilepsy, because it can trigger it.
Right. We're looking at the Facebook page now on the screen. If you want to check out the GABA-A Alliance on Facebook, facebook.com/GABA Alliance. And it's a catchy name. So you got that going for you, right? I mean, it's a memorable thing, but
absolutely.
How widespread is this condition? Obviously, it's big enough to start a not-for-profit to help try to fight it, like MS or these other, situations out there that need some study to help fight against. How widespread is?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, when my daughter was first diagnosed, it didn't seem, I mean, it's a very, like, her specific mutation is ultra rare, right? So my daughter has a frame shift mutation, and currently in the US, she's one of 9. But she's very, very ultra rare. In the US, I just checked the ClinVar website. There's about 900 patients. And then we do have a lot of international patients as well. So I would say collectively, with the ones that, have reached out and that I know of, we have, internationally with the US about 1,200, which is relatively small in terms of when you think of, population size and compared to like, pediatric cancers and stuff like that. So, it's small in the sense of when, the National Institute of Health is looking, to help out, a disease, and And a lot of times, ultra rare diseases don't really get a seat at the table because their population size is too small. However, we are growing because of the access to getting genetic testing done. That's the biggest thing, because these symptoms that show up don't really manifest a lot of times, right? In utero. You see symptoms develop, from birth and then on. And then like my daughter, so she currently doesn't have epilepsy, but it could happen at any time. She could develop juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, and that usually doesn't have onset problems until between the ages of 9 and 12. So it's kind of a hodgepodge, and everyone, it's a spectrum of the way the disease can present itself and symptoms with children. So some of them have very drug resistant epilepsy, which means the current medications that we have on the market are not working. And we need to figure out either a way to one of our main focuses that we're doing right now is taking drugs that are already on the market and repurposing them. So it could be even a drug that's not used for epilepsy, but the chemical compound might work very similar in helping to kind of reuptake, depending on the type of mutation that they have, but helping kind of guide that protein and getting it to work correctly. So it's a little bit cheaper and faster than trying to develop a new therapeutic treatment, which can take 15 to 20 years. And some of these children don't have it. They don't have 15 to 20 years because they're having 60 to 100 seizures a day. That is uncontrollable. And they're completely dependent on their parents, and they're nonverbal, and they can't feed themselves, and they can't walk, so, and that's a spectrum. That's kind of like the worst case scenario. There are children that have, therapy is wonderful. We started early intervention right away with my daughter, and those therapies do work, but there's only so far that you can get when it's a neurological thing.
Sure. I'm obviously going through the website here, and I'm looking at this gene variants.
Yes.
GABA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. GABA-A, GABA-B.
There's about 19 subunits within the GABA-A allele itself, and my daughter has a GABA-1 frame shift mutation. And so what we try to do is it's me and my other co-founders. They're also parents as well that have children with a GABA-A mutation. So we tried to we all kind of met. We all started our own parent support communities on Facebook, and that's kind of how we all met. And we decided hey, we need to create a foundation and really start trying to tackle this, because our kids aren't getting better with the treatments that are out there. Some of them are getting worse. There's Scarlett right now. This is a younger picture of her, but and so we wanted a space for awareness is key, obviously. Why should someone care about, this type of epilepsy or this foundation when there's so many that are out there? And our biggest thing is just awareness about the disease and the onset of symptoms. And then we wanted to have a place for parents to go to as well. Because I know when I was, when we were diagnosed, there was nothing. There was no community. There was not even like a overhead, community of anything, there was nothing out there about it. So we really wanted to have a space also for parents who were newly diagnosed, because we knew how scary and isolating that could be in the very beginning. And then also any type of data that's out there, we want to have that available for parents to look at and see, if there's a correlation, between symptoms, and have a place for all the parents to connect to talk about it. So
it's a very interesting topic, because we all know somebody affected with cancer. We all know somebody affected with Alzheimer's. We all know somebody affected with a lot of these other things. But for someone to know somebody affected by this, it's a pretty narrow, slim thing, but it's there, and you obviously you're touching some families across at least the country, if not the world, who are dealing with it. Have you found that this is something that is somewhat regional, or is it all over the globe?
It's really globally. It's funny. So when I first kind of started putting everything together, or just, like understanding my daughter's diagnosis and seeing, I thought, oh my gosh, we're one of 39. This is crazy. Like, how does this happen? And then I went home and researched as much as possible. I kind of became, the expert in my daughter's, disease. And so I just started like on Instagram, like I would post photos of her, and then I would just put like hashtag GABA-A or, this or that. And then eventually, a mom reached out to me and said, hey, my daughter has this. That's so crazy. We never thought that we would meet someone else. And she's from Skokie, Illinois, which I thought, out of all the places in the world, this lady who has a daughter who has, the same mutation as my daughter's, is only 55 minutes away.
Yeah, it's driving distance. It's an hour and a half away, if that.
Yeah. And I thought that was pretty crazy. And we still chat with each other and, see how our kiddos are doing. But I just thought that was really interesting and crazy how, the power of the internet can be an amazing thing as far as like connecting like communities together. So that's just kind of what happened. It just kind of snowballed after that. And because of genetic testing, I will say, and how, widely available it is now, it's the community is quote unquote growing. But I think a lot of times people are misdiagnosed when you have epilepsy. They're misdiagnosed in the beginning, and that's where genetic testing kind of fills the void there, and people are getting more correct diagnosis now versus in the beginning. So I think a lot of times you'll see community grows because of that fact itself. So
when the symptoms are so similar, it's
Yes.
understandable that you're going to be misdiagnosed with something like this. But
absolutely,
Well-
absolutely, that was one of our biggest fears too.
Well, it all has to do with the brain. So that's where, we know we've isolated where it begins or where it happens. Growing up, I have an interesting little story. My best friend, I met him when we were both in second grade. He moved into the neighborhood. He turned out to be epileptic. We did not know that. And I was there because we hung out. We were joined at the hip practically. I hung out with him every single day. Every single time he had an episode, I was there. I was getting to think I was the problem. But anyway, not really. And they didn't know what to do about it. He spent some time in the hospital. They ran tests, but they didn't have DNA testing back then. He
No.
ended up having a normal life once everything was. Is it the same thing, or did it, give us the layperson's layout here, because I don't know enough about it. I know what I've learned from him and from his situation. Will your daughter be able to drive a car, lead a normal life, or did I miss something? Is there something a little deeper on this?
Yeah, so it really just depends on the type of epilepsy that people have, right? There's some where they completely, it's a seize up moment, they'll drop to the ground, they'll convulse.
Yeah.
And then people have like absent seizures,
Okay.
or where you can't really tell that they're having a seizure. They just kind of space out a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but his were grand mal, and I think that's what you're talking about, right? They were the worst of the worst. Yeah,
they are. And so people who have that, if it's not controlled, then they wouldn't be able to operate a motor vehicle.
And he did get it under control, because then he drove, and
there's steps that you have to take, I think, a little bit to get that, to get that licensure. But so with my daughter, her biggest, I guess you could say, disabilities are she is, developmental delays, and then her biggest one is she can't produce speech. She has a few words that she can say, but she can't connect sentences.
Gotcha.
But she can understand language. And she's got a soft spot for me, because I just can't imagine, how just debilitating that can be, to understand your world and understand what you want to say, but not, your brain just can't let you say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, think about like someone just taping your mouth shut and you can't get it off. And it's just got to be very, very frustrating. And she also has some intellectual disabilities as well that we, work on. But other than that, she's a very sassy, spunky, tenacious 10-year-old who loves K-pop Demon Hunters. So
there you go.
And she lights up every room, ask, anyone. She's just an amazing kid. But there's such power in speech. And I think there's also power in speech, like as a woman in this world too. And I want her to have that ability, to have autonomy in this world and to not always rely on, I always tell her too, I'm like, mommy's trying to find your voice. That's why I do what I'm doing. She used to think of herself as Ariel because how Ariel loses her voice and then she has to go and find it again. So I tell her that that's what mom's trying to do is so that she can have her voice. And, I tell her all the time, I don't always like speaking up for you, baby. I understand. And I want you to have it so bad. So
you're going to make us cry here, I have 2 daughters and a son, and my oldest daughter is diabetic, and I know that's nothing like what you're going through at times. At times it was. They had to airlift her up to Madison, and I broke down. I started crying before my wife did. As she's being airlifted to Madison, we got in the car and drove up there, and it was like,
absolutely,
it was a tough period right there.
I mean, anything with kids, even they could scrape their knee really bad and you're, you never want to see your children struggle in any capacity.
No.
And people a lot of times tell me like, oh, well, how are you doing this or that? I'm like, you just do it. That's what you do as parents. If you were in my position, you would probably do the same thing. You would do anything, for your kid. And that means starting foundations when you have no idea what you're doing and immersing yourself in research that you don't understand and making yourself understand it, and doing the hours of research and trying to find someone who will listen to you, a doctor, a researcher, someone to get on it. You do it. Yeah. So.
Well, I tell you what, I am very impressed with your knowledge. This is really cool. You all your stats and all that, unless you got them on a whiteboard right there and we can't see it, that's pretty doggone good because
it's just repetition at this point.
It is. So. It is. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. I think you're pretty bright. So that is awesome. You. And God bless you for what you do, because anytime you said it succinctly. We love our kids. I don't know if you said it exactly like that, but we all have kids. We all love our kids. And when the scrape on the knee, I remember my son, I don't remember what it was, but he had something and he was really hurting. And I just gave him a big old bear hug, and, and we went for ice cream. I don't know.
Wish you could take it away.
I would take that scrape on the knee for you if I could.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's that, she's the biggest motivator. And I tell her, I'm like, I'll stop once I take my last breath. I'll never quit trying to find her something that'll just give her an ounce of relief,
And this sounds like a statement, but she gives you a purpose in life. And I know that no matter what, even if she was, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and everything was just whatever, it would still be the same thing. But knowing you have somebody that depends on you, it's almost like, and this is a weird analogy, but I got a cat who's 15 years old, and he's the most amazing cat in the world. I come home, I sit down, boom, there he is, right there. I'm his go-to guy, and she's her go-to. You know what I mean? I'm not equating her to a cat, but
No, but I understand the sentiment 100%.
Yep. It's great to be loved, needed, and wanted.
Yep, there.
Over here. I don't think
is that Veda?
Veda's laying here on her blanket, and she's.
Veda barked at me the other day. I was at Greg's house.
Yeah.
Veda barked at me. I was a little leery. It was like.
So she's a rough one with strangers. Before I forget, I want the Waldom Electronics logos over my shoulder. I want to thank Roger for alerting us to who you are and what you do. Because before Roger from Waldom Electronics brought up this, I had never heard of it before. In fact, when he did, my first question was, are they local? Is there really a local connection to the GABA-A Alliance? Because I've never heard of it. And he said, oh, yes, there is. So
He's definitely gotten an earful of me talking about stuff. So.
Good.
Yes.
Well, Miranda, because now you are. Sorry, Greg, I interrupted you.
Just very generous company. That's all. I want to make sure I shout out to Waldom Electronics.
Absolutely. Miranda, since you are now a trivia expert, we do trivia on Wednesday nights. You could play on Greg's team.
Come help In Crowd 815. Yeah, we got to
In Crowd 815.
I don't know how. I mean, so I went to the mass karaoke, and I thought I was going to do pretty well, and then that second round, Tom, you got us there in that second round.
I'm sorry.
We got to separate teams somehow. That's how.
Yeah, right. That's right. Separate the haves from the have-nots. What were some of the questions in the second round? I can't remember. I love the feedback. If you remember me saying, I want your feedback. If you want to tell me I'm awful and I suck at trivia, I welcome it. I want to know because I want to make it better.
We can't have 12 teams tied with perfect scores. That's just the thing.
That's true. I think there was one. The biggest curveball was it was something about someone's name in a commercial.
Oh, and yes, progressive commercial.
I was like,
Dr. Paul, Dr. Phil, Dr.
It was like, what's the doctor's name in this commercial? And I was like,
that turned out to be the best question of all because everybody's like, oh my God, what is his name? Dr. Rick.
Dr. Rick.
And then everybody said, oh my God, of course.
And like one or two teams got it right.
That commercial runs.
It was not us, I'll tell you that.
That one I was particularly proud of. Not because everybody got it wrong. I don't want anybody to get questions wrong, but I don't want everybody to get everything right.
Nobody got it right.
Like Greg says.
Right.
Like Greg says,
you got to make them somewhat difficult.
Yeah. But I thought, wow, that is a good question because it shows how well people are tuned in. When I'm watching a football game, I'm not watching commercials. I grab the thing and mute. I don't care what I'm watching. I could be watching Forensic Files. Mute every time the commercials come on. So I see very little commercials, but I have that brain where I retain weird things. I cannot remember what I had for breakfast, but I retain the dumbest, weirdest things.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
So consider this your formal invite to Wednesday night trivia at Louis.
All right, I may take you up on that. I might have to freshen myself up on some if you throw some.
Oh, that's right. You'll be part of a smart team. Greg's team is starting to climb the ladder. They took second a couple of weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
When my wife's friends show up, we actually make the top 5. But without them, it's just usually me and Christy, and we're lucky to not be last.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to do trivia with just 2 people.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
it really is. So
I can imagine.
Well,
so Miranda, you can become a superstar at trivia, just like you're a superstar at GABA-A.
Come and help us out. Now, I like with our previous guests, like Mike over at the Veterans Memorial Hall and Museum there. I did ask AI to give me some questions for you today, Miranda. So let's see if our Gemini AI has gotten anything good here for us. It took a look for you, and it said something about you being a certified genetic counselor. Is that true?
Oh, no. I actually was going to go to school to be a certified genetic counselor because I got immersed into genetics, and then there's definitely a need for it, but I didn't go all the way yet for it. So the question, that's funny that it picked up that I
apparently part of your story is you were going to or something like that. So
yes, I was going to apply to do that.
There's a little lesson in all the AI stuff. AI gets things wrong. It does.
You got
to follow up things, but it said basically the question was that you obviously know a lot about medical systems better than most because of your situation with your daughter, and so does it make it harder? The question is, did having the medical background make the diagnosis of a rare disorder easier to process because you understood the how, or did it make it harder because you know exactly how steep the hill was that you had to climb?
That's a good question. I think at the time of her diagnosis, I didn't quite have as much like medical knowledge of like not only just her disease itself, but also kind of the red tape within navigating different types of trying to get therapies. And because my daughter kind of still lives in the gray area, she has a diagnosis, but it still doesn't fit into a lot of molds that kind of open up opportunities for treatment, which is obviously why we're, collecting funding for the drug repurposing to trying to find a treatment and hopefully one day a cure. So that was really hard to navigate. But it also kind of forced me to just, become an advocate and kind of, not take no as like the finale, like final thing.
Real thing. I need some answers. Help me out here.
Yeah. So like, we've gotten multiple just second, opinions, sometimes third opinions on things, just because I just didn't really accept, like no, or wait for this, when our geneticist told us her mutation, what it was, he goes, I have no idea what this is. There's nothing out here. Here's a pamphlet or a piece of paper that I found on the internet. About it, and come back in 5 years and we might have more information. And I was like, no.
Come back in 5 years.
Thank you for admitting you don't know what's going on. Now let's find someone.
By the way, come back in 5 years. I'm retiring in 4, so hey.
Yeah, and he was only in the office for about 2 times a month. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that at all. So thank you for getting us here at this point, but I'm going to hijack and curtail somewhere else and try to figure this out. So
there you go.
Yeah. And I used to be a very introverted person, but this has kind of made me a very extroverted person, just to knock down those doors for her. So it's been a blessing, and I am grateful for, where I am and the connections that I've made, the people that I've met over the years, the people who are willing to listen to our story and want to help. So I think, I'm very humbled by all of the experiences that I have and all the great friendships that I've made too with the parents as well, like over the years. So hearing everyone's story, there's a lot of similarities, but there's also differences, and that's how we learn.
Yeah. And we all process information differently. So that's why you need a village. You need a lot of people to say, okay, I'm looking at the elephant from the tail. You described an ear. I need to know what's going on here between the ear and the tail.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of animal, go ahead, Tom, you got a question.
Well, no, it's completely off track. While I was thinking about it, you're not getting away until you tell us who you root for. Chicago or Green Bay, or Kansas City Chiefs. Now you're from Kansas, and Kansas City Chiefs are from Missouri, so.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. In Kansas, you're either a Chiefs fan or you're a Dallas fan.
Yeah, we don't want that. Nobody wants
and
that.
So my family is a Dallas family.
There we go. There we go.
I knew Tom would love that.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll just let that slide.
But what about you?
We'll
have
you
kind of remained a Cowboy fan? It's okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't like Jerry Jones, but I don't.
Everyone hates the Cowboys.
Because
it's America's favorite pastime to hate on the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know, because they've always been such a winning organization. They came into the league in 1960, and by 1967 they were challenging for the Super Bowl. So that's pretty doggone good. And then Jerry Jones comes along and he luckily wins 3 Super Bowls.
He inherited
in 4 years, because he inherited all of these draft picks and all of that. I mean, they were 1 in 15 the first year, but he got all those draft picks from a stupid trade with the Minnesota Vikings. But anyway, and he hasn't won anything since. I think they've won 1 or 2 playoff games in 30 years. So Jerry must go.
Yes, every Dallas fan has said this for years.
I have a personal friend who lived in Dallas, and she knew Jerry Jones. She didn't know him well, but she'd been to a few parties at his estate, because she was in an industry where, whatever. And she said she had some stories like you wouldn't believe about Jerry Jones. Anyway, not for here. It's just typical Jerry Jones. That's all. Anyway,
Back
enough of
to
that.
elephants and animals. The second,
Yes,
the
I'm
second
sorry.
question that AI gave me was called the zebra hunt, because in medicine, rare diseases are often called zebras. As in the saying, when you hear hoofbeats, you think horses, not zebras. Well, you, Miranda, didn't just find a community; you had to build one because it really didn't exist when you found out about Scarlett's situation there. So the question says, I know you started with Scarlett's Village before expanding to the GABA-A Alliance. When you're dealing with a disease so rare that even many doctors haven't heard of it, the isolation, that can be tough. Can you take us back to that first moment where you connected with another family who was going through the exact same thing? You mentioned the family in Schaumburg. Was that the first family that you were connected with that you're like, oh, they're doing the same thing that we're doing?
Yeah. So I remember when we first met, it was almost kind of relieving to finally meet someone else and this happened. And we, it was like, oh my gosh, like tell me about, because her daughter was slightly older than my daughter. And so it was like, okay, tell me about like their symptoms, like what was it in the beginning? How was your pregnancy? Like we kind of did what we now call natural history, which is kind of what you need when you're trying to find treatment solutions. Doctors need it, researchers need natural history of the disease of their patients. So you're collecting all of the history, when you go to the doctor and they're like, well, does this run in your family? Does this run in your family? How long is this? That's collecting natural history, because they're trying to keep all of that data compiled. And, if something were to manifest later on, then they have a backlog of everything that's been going on in your family and what you're, have gone through throughout the years. So that's kind of what we were doing, is collecting natural history. We were talking about, early onset symptoms and how things are doing now, and like what medications have worked and what hasn't worked. And we just were talking about that. And then I'm like, okay, great. Like, I hope we stay in touch. Like, let's try to get our kids together and stuff like that. So that kind of, just started everything. And then, we started the parent support group, and she was one of the first members, which was fantastic. And, it just kind of started from there. So it was definitely a relief. And it was just kind of like, I don't know, like I just felt like a weight kind of lift off my shoulders.
Finally, a ray of light.
Else out there. Yeah.
Finally,
I'm so sorry. Can you guys just give me 1 second? My daughter just showed up, so I got to go meet her at the door.
If we need to let you go, we'll let you go.
I'm so sorry. She just got here.
Is this something that you want to bring around the podcast, or no? I just want to.
She loves saying hi, so let me just grab her for 1 second.
Okay, you do that.
And then you can say hi to Scarlett. Give me 1 second.
Okay, all right. We'll take you off the camera here for just a little bit. And this is a welcome surprise. This was not planned.
Yeah, that is
obviously.
so cool.
GABA-A Alliance, again, the link is down it should be in the chat. Hopefully, if it's, I'll put it in there again. Sometimes this chat thing Restream's been going through some stuff lately with some upgrades. And so some of it's been working very well and some of it not so much.
I have noticed my whole screen looks a lot different. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the problems I had this morning. I think my computer was just not waking up properly. I had started my computer. I got up at 6:45. I opened up my computer and I logged on to this. And 7:15? Quarter till 7. I said 7:15 earlier.
Early morning.
Yeah, no, 6:45. I logged on and it was just going through the gyrations and all of that. And then by quarter after, it finally came to the screen I have now. And then it just wouldn't do anything. So.
Well, I think they've gotten their thing squared away better now, because when we put stuff in the chat, basically it shows up as like a comment if you're looking for this on Rumble, on YouTube, or on the main Facebook channel. So those are the places where we can actually see comments be posted, and that's where our comments go to. So what you're seeing on the screen right now, the HTTPS GABA-A.org. That's part of the chat stream and should show up like a comment in the feed on Rumble.
I have nothing on the right side where I normally you would say host and then you would post something and then another thing and another thing and then let's say Lynn wanted to she always does, then I don't see anything in there because that's where it would come up.
That's where still the problem is right now is some of that stuff. The feed isn't coming back. So
all right. So I have a question and maybe you can answer it. Why is it GABA-A but it said GABRA earlier on the other part?
That's GABRA. That's what GABRB. So there's a lot of different. We'll have to ask Miranda, see if she can get that squared away for us. We'll bring you back on camera here, Miranda, and say hello to Scarlett too. Good morning.
Say hi.
Oh, she's embarrassed. Hi, Miss Scarlett. How are you? We can still see you.
Oh, there she is.
All right.
Thank you for joining us today. We're so glad to meet you, even virtually. That's wonderful.
Say hi. No. Okay.
Okay.
We just want to say
That's
hi.
okay. We'll take your head nod as a hi. We know you said hi in your heart.
It's 10, 10 years old. So, those hormones are starting to kick in.
There you go.
I have a 10-year-old grandson and an 8-year-old grandson. And they don't always do what you want them to do they?
Nope. Yeah. They're really just finding out who they're going to be as a teenager. So
that's right. Well, I've also asked AI to give me some funny or odd questions to ask you today.
Okay.
I don't know if Scarlett's still in earshot somewhere she can hear this. Maybe this will be comical. I don't know. To be honest, Miranda, in the early days of founding the GABA-A Alliance, did you get any confused parents calling you expecting a fan club for DJ Lance Rock and the characters of Yo Gabba Gabba? And did you have to explain you're not affiliated with the orange monster named Muno?
That's I did not get that one. No, but I can see where someone might get a little confused about what we're affiliated with.
I can only imagine what Roger thought the first time he brought up GABA-A Alliance to me, and I was like, "What?"
You're like, "What? GABA? What? What is it? What is that?"
And Tom was asking while you were attending to Scarlett there, the gene variants, GABRA. Why is it GABRA and GABA? Is there something that we're missing there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So each of those alleles kind of do different things within GABA. So they're all different proteins. And basically it's just the scientists who found it kind of, started lettering them that way so that they could keep track of each protein, like when they were looking at it under, Okay. So it kind of does make things a little difficult to understand like within that, but there's not like a specific name, so they're just kind of letters and numbers.
Okay
But they all kind of do they're all proteins and they all do different things within the GABA neurotransmitter. Which is why there's such a spectrum of how the disease manifests. A mutation in one does something a little bit different than the other one, and then but the great thing about therapeutic treatments though is that if we find something that works in one, it should be able to piggyback and help other ones, even though they might look different. So that's the great thing about, if people are donating, it'll go and it'll help an array of different mutations, and it should work.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm going to assume it's probably a good time to let you go.
Sorry.
No, bless your heart. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm glad we had as much time as we did together.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. And if anyone ever has questions, I can give you my email. I mean, I'm always available. Our contact information is on all of our websites too. So I always take calls, emails, all of that. We're pretty much an open book over here.
Awesome. Well, bless you guys. Thanks for being on, and we look forward to seeing you in March at the next Mass Karaoke
I
Trivia.
would love that. Thank you. I had so
Really
much fun
close
last
to
time.
announcing the date. We should be back at Tabala again in March. So
I promise round 2 will be easier. I promise.
Okay. I hold you to that, Tom.
All right.
Bless your hearts. Have a great rest of your weekend. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Scar.
Let's see if we can do
Oh,
this.
what a little
right
sweetheart she was, huh?
Absolutely. That timed out very well. So that was
Actually did.
Our big number of the week this week, current race to 10, has Tom in the lead by a score of 5-3. Could be doubling up on me today. This could be a challenge.
3. Oh, there we go. There
you go. Our big number of the week has some 5 and a 3 in it. 53,000 is the answer. Ice cream or introverts. And I need to go here and find that and then adjust the score before I tell the story. I love ice cream, Tom. You know that about me, right? I really love
too.
I love it. Have you ever heard of Mix-U ice cream and tea stores? M-I-X-U-E.
Okay, no, I have not.
M-I-X-U-E. Mix-U ice cream and tea stores worldwide is become the world's largest fast food chain. Global footprint has over 9,500 locations more than McDonald's does. I didn't know this until this last week. It's the fastest growing Chinese ice cream giant, now with 53,000 locations around the world. I'm going to take the point because you chose introverts. Not much. They made over $2 billion in revenue the first half of this year, just the first half of this year, $2 billion. But of course, McDonald's makes a whole lot more. But the story is Mix-U ice cream and tea stores is up 40% year over year, according to Fortune magazine, and it's nowhere near done expanding. They're eyeing a U.S. debut in New York City. They eventually plan to add beer to their offerings.
Wow.
Mix-U ice cream and tea and beer coming to New York and maybe to Rockford someday in the near future.
Okay, so the interesting thing here is if they got 53,000 stores and none in the United States, wow.
It's new, and it's could be coming in the next 5 years or something here to Northern Illinois. We'll see. As far as introverts go, book clubs are becoming a big thing again. And one of the types of book clubs might surprise you. Have you ever heard of the silent book club?
No.
This might be something for Miranda and the GABA-A-Alliance folks. There's over 2,000 silent book club chapters now, according to Axios. What began as a couple of friends quietly reading in a San Francisco wine bar back in 2012 is now a global organization with chapters in 62 countries. The concept is simple. Members bring their own books to a set location at a set time, and they read independently while in the company of other bookworms. And it's better than a traditional book club, according to members, because there are no required readings. There are no forced interactions. It's semi-social, kind of a choose-your-own-adventure format, low pressure compared to a traditional book club. The co-founder, Genevieve Delemare, says it's the perfect introvert happy hour. I think the concept is cool, and people are looking for social things without too many strings. That kind of rhymes, so it's got to be true, right?
Yeah.
So
social things without strings.
Without strings.
Maybe you just gave them their new slogan, but it just seems kind of weird. Why do you get together with a bunch of people if you're not wanting to talk and converse with those people?
I think what it boils down to is you're in a room doing the same activity.
Yeah.
And if somebody does want to share and you want to also share, the option is there, but you're not forced to. It's like you can politely say, no, thanks. Not into sharing.
Do that at the driver's license bureau, for crying out loud.
I don't know.
Taking your test and looking at the guy next to you, wondering if he's cheating.
I think it's a pretty interesting concept.
I think it's weird, but that's okay. We agree to disagree.
I like to talk about some of our in-crowd 815 events and our like a Rockford linked lunch as kind of an introvert way to network. One of my shout outs today, I wanted to say thank you to Lauren Davis from Lauren Davis Creative. She presented at our Rockford linked lunch yesterday at Machine Shed. And we had a gathering of about 16 or so folks that, some are not natural born networkers. They're not extroverts, but they're more comfortable to sit down at a table, to have some lunch, listen to someone give a presentation, maybe ask a question or just listen to other people ask questions and learn some things without being forced to interact other than to introduce themselves once. So everyone knows who they are and what they do. And that's not forced. If you want to pass, you can pass. But it's an introvert way to network when you do need to network your business and get your name out there and tell people about what you do. So you're all welcome to come and join us the second Friday of the month at Machine Shed. We'd like to keep our group kind of smaller. I don't think we're going to ever grow past 30. That's probably about what we would kind of cap things off at with this particular group.
And just so you know, there's plenty of room at the Machine Shed in case you were at 30.
That's right. There absolutely is. We are wanting to give a couple other quick shout outs to the Excelsior Excalibur Awards were held this past Thursday night, and it was a wonderful evening at the Prairie Street Brew House. Really great event put on by the Rockford Register Star and the Community Foundation of Northern Illinois. Wonderful job. This year's nominees organizations that were nominated to win the Excelsior Award included Rockford Promise. They've been on the In-Crowd 815 podcast before. The Superhero Center for Autism. They've been on the podcast here a couple of different times. And the winner was Vets Roll. Mike Flanagan's organization up there in South Beloit that started like 16, 17 years ago, just wanting to bring a few RVs full of vets to Washington, D.C. Now it has like 16 or 17 charter buses that go every year. And I think they said they have over 2,300 now? It was over 2,000 that they've brought to Washington, D.C. over the years. Vets Roll, congratulations for being the winner of the 2025 Excelsior Award this year. And then the Excalibur nominees, Karen Tilley, a super volunteer, which I think we've had on, I think she was on when we had the Alpine Kiwanis or the Rockford Kiwanis organization on. I think she was on the podcast with them. Penny Wirtjes, who we have not had on the show before, but she brought Gigi's Playhouse to Rockford. She was the founder of Rockford's Gigi's Playhouse franchise, if you will, here. So Penny, congratulations on being nominated. And the winner, Dr. CYRUS Oates from DDS 205, the dentist who's been serving our school-age children with dental care for, over a dozen years, and now is starting that new location in this old Stenstrom Center. We had him on earlier this year to talk about that. And they did a soft opening this week of the new dental facility that kids will be bused to and get free dental care. His collaboration with the Rockford School District is turned into something pretty darn special. And kudos to Dr. CYRUS Oates, his lifetime of dental service here in Rockford that seems like it's only beginning, especially with this new facility that they've just launched at the Stenstrom Center next to Jefferson High School down there. So very, very cool evening there indeed. Anything else that we wanted to touch on this week other than some Packers football? I know you wanted to probably talk about Packers and Bears, and my prediction was okay. Yours was better. I said 19-13. And what did you say? It was 27-13?
Well, I said 27-13. So either way, it's fine. It was
basically 4 scores to 3. You win.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah. So what were your thoughts on the Packers Bears big game last week? And we got another one a week from tomorrow or a week from today.
Here's the biggest takeaway. Hopefully I don't make Bear fans mad, but listen, because what I'm saying is the NFL is awful with the refs. The reffing is awful.
Yeah.
Period. You had the hand to the throat by Luther Burden on Keyshawn Nixon. And it wasn't even Keyshawn Nixon that did anything. It was Carrington Valentine, number 24. Keyshawn's number 25. He comes in and knocks his arm out of the way.
The second guy always gets
Somehow
a penalty.
or another, Keyshawn Nixon gets hit with a 15-yard penalty. Okay, that's bogus. Right there, that negated, well, that gave them a first down. It gave the Bears a first down. Kept their drive going. Okay, another bad call. The play where Evan Williams, it was Colston Loveland, catches the ball, but did he? No, he didn't really. He never possessed it. It lands in Evan Williams' arm. He grabs the football. He's got it in his arm like this for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. He puts it up in the air and it gets knocked out. And they said, incomplete pass. Are you kidding me? The ball never hit the ground. That is the worst call I've seen in probably 20 years. The ball never hit the ground. That was an interception. And they called it a fumble or a caught ball and a fumble or whatever. I don't know. Whatever they called it, it wasn't right. It wasn't an incomplete pass because the ball never hit the ground. Point number 3, the catch with Luke Musgrave. He catches the ball. He brings it in. The ball does scrape the ground, but it doesn't move. I'll give you that one. That might have been a tough one, but they called it a catch. There was not enough to overturn that. There simply was not enough to overturn it. And then there were a couple of other plays that were just off the wall bad. And, you know,
Was there a holding call on Micah Parsons even once during the whole game?
There hasn't been a holding call for Micah Parsons all year long. That was the other thing. He was held, by my count, that I could see 4 times. You and I were watching the game together, and you remember me saying, there's another hold. There's another hold on Micah. There he goes. There was a shot with I can't even do it because of my torn rotator.
Practically tackled him at least once.
There was There was a shot. There were several shots where the guy had his arm around Micah's neck and he's scrambling like this, and he almost got to Caleb Williams a couple of times. He would have destroyed Caleb Williams 3 or 4 times. He should have. Micah Parsons should have 30 sacks this year. I swear to you, he should have at least 20 right now, because he's been held so many times. It's not even funny. It's almost laughable. Yeah. So the game is 28-21. Caleb Williams, for some unknown reason, goes ahead and throws that last pass. Why? I don't know why he didn't run for it.
I'll tell you why he threw it. I'll tell you, because the same exact play worked against, was it the Raiders?
Philadelphia.
The same exact play was ran during the game against Philadelphia, and the guy was so open, it worked like a charm. And he just assumed it was going to be there. He just didn't. And you know what? He probably was right, except for Nixon catching on and breaking off the guy he was guarding, covering.
Keyshawn Nixon is a stud. He's one of my favorite players. And he keeps getting targeted for pass interference. And I tell you what, you could call half of those. Maybe. The other half, no. I'm sorry. Couple of in the Philly game, I believe it was the Philly game. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. It doesn't really matter. Oh, it's in the Detroit game, and they did win the game, so we're good. But the Detroit guy comes up. It's Jamison Williams. He comes up and he makes contact with Keyshawn Nixon, and then he runs off to the left. Well, my son and I were arguing about this. He said, "Dad, you can't do that. You can't make contact after 5 yards." Yes. But the offensive guy was the one that contacted him. What is he supposed to do? Back off and say, "Oh, no, I can't touch you"? That puts the offensive guy at a serious advantage, and the defensive guy at a serious disadvantage. If it's incidental contact right there at the point, I don't care if it's 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 yards. If the offensive guy makes contact with him, that is equal contact. Now, if it's an altering play, like if you see the defensive guy grab him and hold him, then you call it. But just contact? Well, you can't touch him after 5 years. That should work both ways.
Yeah, it's kind of like
then you shouldn't be able to hit me after 5 yards.
Yeah.
So I that was a bogus call as well. The refs need to figure it out. NFL needs to figure it out. Stop namby-pambying around. Stop trying to make this a passing league. Stop trying to protect all the. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't get them injured. You can't get them like heads knocked off or whatever. But right now they're doing an awful job, and it hurt Green Bay far worse than it hurt Chicago. That game should have been 34-13. It
kind of
should have
felt
been.
that way. I mean, it was tough. It was back and forth, but it kind of felt like it was in
Okay,
Green Bay's
but there were
grasp.
3 drives in particular that got sustained by bogus plays. The one where Evan Williams should have had that interception. Packers get the ball back. You go back down and score. You're up 21-0, because I'm pretty sure that was the one. Either it was the one where they scored the field goal or the one where they scored the touchdown. But either way, Packers get the ball and go back. And then we get the ball in the second half, and all bets are off. I'm telling you, you go into the halftime with a 21-0, a 21-0, or a 21-3 lead. You can pretty much, because that Green Bay defense is tough. And the other thing too, that 17-play drive that the Bears had, some of that was aided by bad calls. The Keyshawn Nixon call that shouldn't have been called. There were a couple of other ones that were just, where are they coming from? That 17-play drive really put a knife in the side of the Packers, because it made them tired. And then that last drive, the Bears had 3 scoring drives in a row. They really did. They really did come on, but that was because they had a tired defense. None of the calls on Micah Parsons were called. He would have had several sacks. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, because I've been doing nothing but talking about it all week, and I'm tired of it. The refs are awful, and I'm tired of it. Greg Rolstad, WROLSTAD, if you want to look him up and find out how bad he really is. Go ahead.
Scoring ref.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, it's one of the highest penalties. Well, actually, they didn't have a lot of penalties in the game, but it was a lot of bad non-calls. Every time Micah Parsons has, somebody's, I'm doing it with this arm. They got the head, the arm around the neck. Every time that happens, that's a 10-yard penalty. That's a drive killer. Instead of converting a 3rd and 10, now it's 3rd and 20.
Right.
And you don't convert it. Good luck trying to convert your 3rd and 20, because the Green Bay Packers are the best team in the NFL defensively, not giving up 10 yards or more on a pass play or 20 yards or more on a pass play. The reason nobody throws long on the Packers is because Xavier McKinney, and Evan Williams are 2 of the best safeties. It's the best safety combination in all of football. That's why they've not given up any explosive plays. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And Denver might want to take notice. You're not going to get many explosive plays against the if you've got Cortland Sutton, or I don't remember some of their other receivers. If you got them on your fantasy team, I wouldn't play them this week. They're not going to get a whole lot of.
They might get some short yardage stuff, but shouldn't be
some short yardage stuff, and they might get a touchdown or 2. I don't know, but I really do. I believe, and this is my personal opinion, I believe we're going to beat Denver, and we're going to beat them somewhat handily, 23-13. 23-13 is what I call.
Okay. And this is a weird one, because I really dislike Denver, because they beat the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the Packers are going for 2 in a row. Denver came in and stole it from them, which they earned it. They were Elway and TD, Terrell Davis. Yeah, he was amazing. He was an amazing running back. So they deserved it. But this game is one, if the Packers don't win, as long as they compete, I don't think I'll feel too bad. And that sounds weird to say, but Denver's been very good.
Yeah.
It's an AFC opponent. Denver's been on this roll, I think a 10-game winning streak or something like that. They have something going there. So if the Packers don't win this game, as long as they're in it, it won't hurt too terrible. But obviously, I do want them to win. I want them to go with momentum into Chicago next week and dominate the Bears better next time. And I think that they will, now that they've got more film on what they can expect from the Ben Johnson run Bears. That's the game I'm more excited about and more concerned about.
All right, so first let's hit to the Bears real quick. Ben Johnson is one of the smartest coaches in all of the NFL. He's going to adjust. What I think happened was Ben Johnson got out over his skis a little bit. I think he thought he was going to be too cute, and that's why they were going for the pass. I believe it was a run pass option, but if you give Caleb Williams the option to run, I think he's going to take it just about every time. Because quite frankly, I know Keyshawn Nixon made a great play on it. He wasn't. Cole Kmet was not open. He really wasn't, because Keyshawn Nixon.
It was third down, right? Wasn't it third down?
Fourth down.
Was it fourth? Okay, all right. So
fourth
he did
and
have
one. Because on third and one, Kingsley Enagbare made that monumental stop on Kyle Monange. He made that stop that just absolutely. I think Kyle Monange forgot his middle name on that one. He absolutely blasted him. It was a thing of beauty.
Yes,
it really was. And then so it was 4th and 1. And really, I think if it was 3rd and 1, and they did that play, interception or not, I think going back to 4th and 1, they might have run, because they might have switched the two around. Just, I don't know, because 4th and 1, this is it. This is the ball game right here.
You got to get that first down. I think
what scared them was that 3rd down run that got nothing. And I think they thought, you know what, let's just try and do it through the air. Caleb Williams has a good enough arm. Well, apparently not. So that game it looked closer than it was. We were up 14-3.
I think so too.
It was. We dominated the line of scrimmage in the first half. We dominated offensively, time of possession. We had the one turnover, but then they had the one at the very end of the game, which was far more prevalent, far more not prevalent, but far more damaging. And then and in the second half, Green Bay just kind of got bogged down. And I think it was frustrating for somebody like a Micah Parsons, because what am I supposed to do? I'm getting held on almost every single play. So here's what I suggest the Packers do. Forget about Micah Parsons. Let him get double teamed. Let him get held. And you bring a spy, not a spy. You bring a late rusher in on just about every play. Almost like a blitz on just about every play. Obviously not on 1st and 10, but I mean like on a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, where there is the possibility of a run, but more than likely it's a pass. And you bring that guy in the space where Micah Parsons has helped to vacate. There's going to be an open hole. There aren't enough running backs, and there aren't enough linemen that aren't being covered to cover that. And if you have to bring 2, you're already going to rush 4. That becomes your 5th rusher. Rushing 4 means Micah Parsons is going to grab 2 people. Now you got three left to cover the other 3 runners, and then you got a free guy coming in. It might be Lucas Van Ness. He's tall enough he can go up and because he's going to play this week, I'm pretty sure. He's tall enough he can go up and knock the ball down. I love the idea of doing that. I don't know the logistics. I don't know how well it would work, but I do know this. They're not going long. They're going to go short. They'll dink and dunk. That's fine. That's what you got. Quay Walker, Edger, and Cooper. You got your cornerbacks for that. So I'm really looking forward to this. I am. Or better yet, maybe what you do is you put Micah Parsons in that hybrid spot. Let him line up as a linebacker. Mm-hmm. And go ahead and put in another 4th down four.
You never know when he's coming. You never know when he's rushing.
You never know, because he moves around in front of here, in front of there. Take your weakest link on the offense. They've got a couple of weak links on the offensive line. Other than that, they got one of the better offensive lines in all of football. But there's 1 or 2 guys that I know you can exploit. And if Micah Parsons is coming, they're not going to be set for a double team on that one. I'm looking for a fairly low-scoring game. I think what'll happen is it'll probably be, 17 to 16, 17 to 13, and Green Bay will hit either a last touchdown. Maybe 16-13, they'll hit a last touchdown with 2.5 minutes left. And our buddy Wayne Larrabee might say, there is your dagger. That's
late
what
in the game.
I'm thinking.
Very late in the game. So
very late in the game. That's what I believe. I just think. And now if you take Denver's offense Green Bay's offense against Denver's defense is exploitable. They have a good secondary, but not a great secondary. You get Christian Watson one-on-one, man-to-man, and you're going to have a good day. you're going to have a good day. Now, let's just say this about Jordan Love. He is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. Denver has 55 sacks this year. They lead the league. That's not all your 4 front linemen. That's a lot of blitzing. You want to blitz Jordan Love? Guess what? He's going to burn you. He is the number 1 quarterback against the blitz by far. I think he was like an 87.1 passer rating or QBR, quarterback rating, not a passer rating. Again, meaning I think he's completing that many passes. 81% or 87%, 87.1. I don't know what I said. Against the blitz. Go ahead. Blitz him all you want. He's really good at picking up the blitz and finding the open man. And if you're blitzing, that means someone's open because you've got 3 wide receivers and a tight end, or you've got 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. One of your tight ends is going to block, and a guy like Luke Musgrave, who's very good down the field, will be your 3rd, quote unquote, wide receiver. That's what Luke Musgrave brings to the table. He's not a good blocker. Not a good blocker at all.
What's the possibility of a Luke? Oh gosh, no, I was thinking of Lucas Van Ness. What's a possibility with Van Ness coming back, of Van Ness getting an interception this week?
Very good possibility, but I think he's going to get. I think he's going to get 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 sacks. I think they don't have a lot of film on Lucas Van Ness right now, and I don't think they're really paying that much attention to him. I think they're paying more attention to Micah Parsons, and this is why I'm saying if Lucas Van Ness is the guy that comes free on a lot of these downs, because Micah Parsons is being double teamed, and maybe because Micah Parsons is so strong, he's pushing the quarterback to the other side where Lucas Van Ness can then come in and have lunch.
Well, it's a 3:25 kickoff tomorrow in Denver, in the Mile High City. So
where are we watching it? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I haven't really decided yet, but
if you want to go off the air for a minute or two, we can do that.
we'll have to connect after the podcast.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, I don't know. I might head up to Ron's, so you're more than welcome to come up there.
All right. Next week it's Christmas week. Holy cow, Tom!
Wow.
It's Christmas week.
Should I do another Christmas quiz next week then?
Maybe another Christmas quiz next week. I don't know that we'll have a guest. It might just be you and me waxing eloquent about Christmas and my dad's birthday. If I can talk my dad into jumping on with us, that'd be really fun. But
that's right.
I don't know that he'd be willing to do that because I don't know that he's a restream kind of a guy. But we'll see what he has to say about that. Big time thank you to Mike Fredericksen from Memorial Hall, the curator there at Veterans Memorial Hall, joining us today. You
can tell he loves what he does, and you can also tell the same thing for Miranda. She loves what she does. She is Miranda the Cox, right person for that job.
Yeah, from her starting her little group just for her daughter to be, expanding into a national organization. It's pretty something special there. So I want to show her some support. Look up the GABA-A Alliance on Facebook or on the webpage there as well that we put in the chat today. Visit our website, incrowd815.com. And as we leave, I'm going to bring up some of our Spotify stats as we wrap up today. So remember, you change the world when you help one person. Be a blessing to someone this week. Tom and I will do the same thing and meet you back here next week for another In Crowd 815 podcast. Buddy, have a great rest of your weekend.
Go Packers.
Go Pack, go.
815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815